So, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is ecology in Zoroastrianism. Ecology in Zoroastrianism. To understand the ecology in Zoroastrianism, I would like to take you back in time. We go back in time to 1966. 1966. So what was happening in 1966? Anyone know who was the president? Any thoughts? Yes. And what was going on our streets? Vietnam. There were protests. Things were happening in US, in the world at that time. So when these things were happening, on 26th of December, 1966, what was happening then? 26th of December, Boxing Day. People were buying things they didn't need. Yeah, because it's on sale, let's go and buy it. 26th of December. So on that day, one professor, the next one, Professor Lynn Townsend White Jr., instead of going to a store to buy some stuff that he did not need, he spoke at the American Association of Advancement of Science. He gave a talk. Now, who was this Lynn Townsend White Jr.? He was a professor of medieval history at Princeton and Stanford universities. Very distinguished fellow. What did he say that was so important that we remember him today? Well, he made some statements which are universally true. He said that all forms of life modify their context. Everything that we do, just you're coming today here, you modify the environment in a little way. It happens. He said that humans' relationship with nature is always dynamic and interactive. Anything we do has an impact right away. And then he goes on to say, well, remember, he was a historian. So he says that industrial revolution was the culprit. That's where everything started. So he says that industrial revolution was the fundamental turning point in ecology. What we have today, the problems that we face in environment, originated, according to him, industrial revolution. So if at all, blame that industrial revolution for all the problems we have. Then he goes on to say that Earth was a resource for human consumption. Industrial revolution brought this about. And the hypothesis of science was married to the possibility of technology. Science can imagine to do things, technology makes it happen. So, and that increased the ability to exploit and overexploit the environment. And then he goes on to say what people do about their ecology depends on what they think about themselves in relation to things in the environment. So, what did he say was so revolutionary? This is what he said. He claimed that the religious influence in the Middle Ages was the root cause of the environmental crisis. Till that day, religions were sitting pretty. Environmental problems, that's the science, these idiots, they don't know what they're doing. We religious people are fine. He came about and he says, no, it's the religious people's fault. It's the religion's fault that what we have today, a disaster. And he kept on going to say that we shall continue to have this worsening ecological crisis until we reject the axiom that nature has no reason to exist but to serve humans. Ladies and gentlemen, these were fighting words in that day. Fighting words. So people asked him, well, on what grounds do you say that? The next one. So he says that, well, I am basing it on this, Genesis. It very clearly says, you have dominion over fish of the sea and the air and the cattle and everything that creepeth. You have dominion, go exploit it, do whatever you like, you are fine. And therefore, he says, people brought about a belief that humans are central and most important, the rest of the things don't matter. Anthropology. This is the model that was generated from that statement. So he went on to say that since the roots of our trouble are so largely religious, the remedy must also be essentially religious, whether we call it or not. This is a polite way of saying, you world religions, you guys created this problem, you go and fix it. It's your responsibility. You are responsible for this. And so he said that we have to abandon our attitude of superior creation, so superior amongst the nature. The next. So what happened? Lynn Townsend White came and gone. The religious leaders and theologians interpreted their scripture slightly differently, a little bit here, a little bit there. Some made some statements, yes, environment is important, etc. But nothing happened. Life went on. Religion had its own important things to do. Forget about environment. It's a little irritant if we say certain things to pacify them, and life goes on. Nothing happened for almost 50 years. Till this gentleman came about, Braun Taylor. He was also a professor, and he preached dark green religion in 2010. He argued that where nature is sacred, imbued with intrinsic value and worthy of reverent care, we have to take care of the environment. Non-human species, anything that's non-human, has worth regardless of its usefulness to humans. And he said that there should be a kinship between humans and the other elements of nature. And there should be an ethical responsibility to everything that's non-human. He said in an interview, and this is very important for us to know, he said that, well, eventually their religions are likely to be supplanted, meaning surpassed or replaced by naturalistic forms of nature spirituality. Meaning, he said that, well, you guys, world religions, you are not doing anything. You are going to be replaced. A new religion is about to be born. Get ready for it. A new religion. He predicted that. Okay, next one. He says that, well, there are prophets, just like where Kavas mentioned. There were so many prophets before Zarathustra. Braun says that there are prophets in our lifetime here, or just a generation before us. Who were they? Henry David Thoreau, the Walden. He wrote a book about it. According to Braun, he is a prophet. He preached something to us. Simple lifestyle. He lived in woods and wrote a book about it. Beautiful book. If you get a chance, read it. Then there is John Muir, the father of national parks. And he's quoted to say, in the best of our times, everything turns into religion. All the world seems a church, and the mountains are the altars. He found God in nature, in mountains. He said, I don't need to go to church. Church is right here in nature. That's my church. Rachel Carson, her quote, the man is a part of nature, and a war against nature is inevitably a war against himself. If we fight nature, we are fighting ourselves. These are the new prophets, according to Braun. Next one. So, what is ecology? Two definitions here. I'll let you read through them. According to Braun, there were quite a few prophets of this new religion that he says is about to take place. He talks about Arnold Ness, Michael Dowd, and others. So the question that we are going to explore today, is a new religion about to take place, or is it recycled Zoroastrianism? Okay, next one. So first, should religion be responsible for environmental crisis that we are facing? What is its responsibility and why? So religions claim monopoly on moral issues. Religions are moral compass. So the question we have to ask, what have the religions done to emphasize the morality as regards to environment? What have they done? One can argue nothing. Religious things are more important. Forget about the environment. That's secondary. Yeah, it's afterthought. They have a huge reach. They can reach millions of people right away. They have a huge network all over the world. They have a lot of power. Power of religion is extremely important and tremendously potent. You don't like a cartoon, you can bring out millions of people on streets in an instant. Why not do something similar for the environment? Ask a question to yourself. They have spiritual influence. A thing is said in the name of religion, it's done. What have they done about the environment? Where is their pronouncement? Where are the instructions? Absent. Doesn't exist. And it's their responsibility. So religions are responsible for the environment, from Lynn Townsend White's argument that they're responsible for its initiation in the first place. And now that we are trying to fix it, religions are absent. That's where it is said that new religion is about to take place. But one could argue that it's recycled Zoroastrianism. The next one. So we are looking at nature spirituality. So now, Zoroastrianism and environment. See how it works. I don't need to go over this. You must have listened to this and seen this 1,000 times. Each Amishaspan is assigned an element of nature. And then we go one step further. Each day of the month, it's not a number, or 1st of January, 2nd of January. What is this? This is, prisoners are assigned a number, not the days of the month. Every day is special in Zoroastrian calendar. Ormas, Brahman, Haripesh, whatever. It has its identity. It tells you something. It communicates with you. It brings a message to you. It stands on itself and says and proclaims that this day is dedicated to this, not a number. Each month is dedicated to something. It's not just January and February and November, the 9th day is actually the 11th, and December the 10th is the 12th month. What kind of a calendar are we following? Whereas here, each month has a meaning. Each month has a message. Each month is dedicated to something. Name and day feast, when the day and the month collide, well, it's a special day. Ava Maino Ava Rose, well, it's water. Pay attention to that. Adar Maino Adar Rose, fire. Pay attention to that. Nature. Show me in the regular calendar that has something similar. Doesn't exist. Hamkara, the co-workers. It's in Zoroastrian calendar. Days dedicated to humans, animals, fire, metal, earth, water, vegetation. It's all in Zoroastrian calendar. The next. Here is the Zoroastrian calendar in a different format. Organization chart. CEO right at the top, Ervad Tehemton himself. And his executives right there. And all the helpers. Each one has a function. They cannot sit idly by. They produce something. They do something. They are dedicated to something. The sky, moon, fire, sun, water, star, nature everywhere. That's Zoroastrian calendar. So any particular day. So what day is today? Woman may not go through. Let's find it here somewhere. Woman is for animal. Goat, cattle. So today's day is dedicated to what? Animals. There you go. Find me in the secular calendar that is the day dedicated to animals. You won't find it. Don't waste your time. Each day is dedicated to something. And then, interestingly, month of woman, we are asked not to consume meat. Okay, isn't that great? The scientists tell us that eating meat is not good for your health. They also say that eating meat is not good for the environment. Zoroastrianism knew it. I don't know how. Thousands of years ago. They said, well, in this month, don't eat meat. On these days, don't eat meat. And if you really calculate, it's almost like 20% of the year, you don't eat meat. And if you're a real observer and real observant Zoroastrian, you will not eat meat a day before, a day after. So now it's like 40% of the time you don't eat meat. You're vegetarian already. It's prescribed right there. You don't have to go and find science books about it. It's right there. So everywhere you see, you will find nature in Zoroastrian calendar. Now, Sayas ne Sayas. It says that, well, whoever teaches care of these seven creatures. Now, note the word, it says teaches. You are to teach people to take care of these seven creations that pleases the bounteous immortals, the Amishaspas. Then his soul will never arrive in kinship with hostile spirit. When he has cared for the creations, the care of these bounteous immortals is for him. And he must teach this to all mankind in the material world. According to this, it's our duty as Zoroastrians to teach others to take care of the environment. Right there. So nature has its masters, the Amishaspas, the Yazets, etc. We are not their masters, and we have to be mindful of that. Asha, the law of nature. So the law of nature is very powerful, ladies and gentlemen. Things do not act in a particular way because it is law in nature. But we state the law because things happen in a certain way. That's important. It happens, so we have to be mindful of the changes we make in the environment. The environment works by itself. Nature's law doesn't change. So nature obeys the divine law of nature, and will treat you the way you treat nature. So that's the environment. You have to take care of it. The degradation of environment is very clearly forbidden in Zoroastrianism. Well, go to Vanidat. It describes how earth is to be treated and the elements to be kept pure. They are prescribed punishment for impurities, and it prescribes hygiene and punishment for polluters and treatment of corpses and things like that. Dokmanashini, the things prescribed by our ancestors, when it works in its perfect form, it's an excellent way of disposing the dead. Ardaiviraf Name. Ardaiviraf went to the other world and brought back intelligence from what's happening in heaven and hell. And he says that those who abuse domestic animals were among the most tortured in hell. I don't want to go there. And don't be tortured, please. So those who treat them with respect and kindness are in heaven. Again, a way of saying that, hey, be mindful of the environment. The next one. So let's look at some of our prayers. We have got how many Nyashes? 5. 5 Nyashes. Nyashes are hymns. And who are they dedicated to? Not an invisible God who we can't see and it exists somewhere in the sky. No! They are dedicated to nature. Khorshid Nyas, Mer Nyas, Avar Visur Nyas, to water. Atash Nyas, to fire. Mabaktar Nyas, to moon. Everything is nature. We go to some of our prayers, and this one here stands out. Char Disano Namaskar. You say these prayers facing each side, each direction. And what do we say in that prayer? Not again to some invisible God, but to nature. Nemo Vangam Asangamcha, Shoitananamcha, Gayotananamcha, Maitananamcha, etc. Homage to those places and to those lands. And for the pastures and those abodes of Hirax, and for waters, land and plants, we pay homage to lands and plants and water. And for this earth, and for the ushering wind, and for the stars and the moon and the sun, and eternal stars, etc. So we pay homage to nature. Zoroastrianism teaches us to do that. Yasna, when we perform Yasna ceremony, who do we perform in honor of? Amongst other things, in the honor of fire, the son of our Mazda, together with all the fires, and for the good waters, for all the waters made by Mazda, and the plants, we perform ceremonies in their honor. Nature. So, celebrations, Zoroastrian celebrations. Nowruz, New Year. Zoroastrian New Year doesn't happen in the middle of winter when it's snow and everything dies. Zoroastrian New Year is the first day of spring. When things happen, nature wakes up. When birds start chirping, when grass starts growing green again, when warmth comes about, days get longer, sun is back. That's when we celebrate New Year, new beginning, new in nature. We celebrate with it, not during winter. Gambars align with nature, change in season. Tirangan, Meragan, etc. Everything that you look at is aligned with nature, dedicated to nature, respecting the nature. Next. Here is a little picture to remind ourselves. So I thought I will bring this slide in this conversation. This is very important for us to know as people. There is an equation I equals P plus A plus T. So the impact on the environment is a result of the addition of these three: population, affluence, technology. Too many people, too affluent, enough technology to produce stuff to satisfy their affluence. When these three things combine, disaster is about to happen. You've got too many people, too affluent, afford too much, and there's technology to help them satisfy their needs. So, next. Keep that in mind, because till such time that we change that, things will keep on worsening. So let's take this message from our Mother Earth. You must have seen your mother putting a little sticky like that. Well, stickies didn't exist then, of course. But, well, it gives away my age. Okay. Anyway, the next one. Okay. There is a Gaia philosophy that basically says that Earth is an organism in itself. And all the things that happen is within that organism system. So everything is so interdependent that if one part of it is out of whack, it affects everything. Well, that is very similar or just about the same as Zoroastrian philosophy in Gathas. This is SDG 17, Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. And they are working on those goals now. Okay. I thought I'll bring this up so that people would look it up and study it further. And most of these ones are, in fact, dealt with in Zoroastrian scriptures and our practices. So let me take you back to sometime in late 1800s or early 1900s. Picture this. There was this guy from America taking a walk on the beach of Mumbai, maybe Juhu Beach or something, I don't know where. He must be walking along, just enjoying, and he sees a group of people, some dressed in white, ladies in beautiful, colorful saris, and doing something. So he would have gone there and said, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" And they would have said, "Well, observe, join us, see what we are doing." He observed, and then he wrote in his memoirs, it must likely be Ava Maino Ava Roj. Our ancestors would be celebrating that day by going to the beach. And he writes, it was the first day of the new moon, here on the shores of the ocean, as the sun was sinking, they congregated to perform this religious rites. Fire was there in the grandest form, the setting sun, the water in the vast expanse of Indian Ocean stretched before them. The earth was under their feet, and there came some air laden with perfumes. No other time or place could be more fitting for lifting up the souls of the realms beyond sense. I could not but participate in what was so grandly beautiful. And he goes on to say, I've seen many modes of forms of worship, some disgusting, others saddening, few elevating, but all poor in comparison to this. Nor do I expect to witness a ceremony which so profoundly affected me, that of the passes of the beach of Mumbai. Andrew Carnegie. Now, if this isn't Father of Public Library, there you go, I add to that. Okay, so if this guy was so impressed by the nature worshipping, the nature respecting, the nature supporting practices of Zoroastrianism, do we need a new religion? No, it's already there. It's there already for us to take advantage of. So all the religious answers that we are looking for, they're already here. It's our job to go out and say, hey, it's already there. Look it up. We have it. It's that the people are not aware of it. It's our duty to go out and promote it. and make sure that people know that Zoroastrianism has the answers of the environment already prescribed, practiced, and proven, all to be taken advantage of. Thank you so much.